Hello, everybody. This is Greg29407 back with another episode of City of Heroes. Well, this ferocious beast of the jungle here is one of my newer characters. This is a character, he's a brute, and his name is Town Fanatic. And I picked this, I don't want to say I picked it because of the costume, but look at the face on this thing. They did a really good job on this. They have a lot of animal heads in the game, tigers and lions and bulls and all sorts of things. They have a fish face, piranha, and a chicken face, and everything else like that. So I kind of based this character on the cool looking head first, and then I picked the power sets later, which is legitimate. You can play your characters however you want to, and that's what I did on this guy. I just thought it just looks, it's just really nice detail. Look at that. That's beautiful. So anyway, Town Fanatic, and he is a brute, as I mentioned. What I've done with this character is he is a Claws Regeneration brute, and I want to go through his power sets and everything with him. And Regeneration as a secondary used to be the big thing back in the day. Like when the game first came out, this was like the hot topic. This is the one everyone used because it was like a little bit overpowered. And the reason for that is one of the powers that we have in here, which we haven't gotten yet because we're only 24 right now, is called Instant Healing, and it makes your regeneration go through the roof. And apparently this was a toggle back in the day, which meant you turn this thing on and your green bar just stayed high all the time. So they made it a click power, and now it's not as powerful or not as popular as it used to be. I played a little bit on a character many years ago on Regeneration. I didn't really do much with it, but I wanted to see if this was still a viable build. I looked on the forums, and it looks like Regeneration is the most popular among new players, secondary for, I think, scrappers and brutes, maybe tanks, I don't remember that. But it's still very popular. I think it tails off somewhat for higher level characters, but so it's still very viable. So I want to see what it's like. And I've played Claws before, several times in fact. Years ago, I had a werewolf character because they had a wolf head, and I had a Claws Dark werewolf character, which is pretty fun to play. So I created this character. His basic story is he's just some guy who loves the Clemson Tigers, and he's a big sports nut. And his friends talked him into getting a full body tattoo, and he's ruined his life, so now he just fights crime. So it's a big reach, but Tiger Town is the name of a very famous restaurant bar in Clemson, South Carolina. So, Tiger Town Fanatic. So there we go. So let's go over the powers that we have. The Claws powers are kind of self-explanatory. They're a bunch of claws. It's like Wolverine. So you can, and you can when you're doing your character, you can pick a lot of different types of claws too. You can customize the claws. I like these three things on here. Like this is pretty cool looking. You can get them to look like bones and dark things, and only 2 claws per hand or 1 claw like knives and things like that. So it's pretty neat. You can do a lot of stuff with it. So first power you have is Swipe, and that does minor damage. I didn't take that one. I went with Strike because you can take either one of those as at level 1. I took Strike because it's moderate damage. Slash is a little bit better, a little stronger damage, and it also cuts down the defenses of your enemy a little bit. It does a little bit on there. Spin is a really good power. It's PBO AOE, and basically you as the name says, you spin around and hit everyone in the area. This is really powerful, and early on, this is like the go-to power. It uses some endurance, but as you'll see, having regeneration or regeneration as our secondary helps out with that a lot. Next, we have Follow-Up, and Follow-Up it's an attack power, but it's also a build-up power. So it's kind of a combination of 2 things. So it's not as strong as build-up on other power sets, but it also does damage itself. So basically what you do is you hit someone with Follow-Up, and then your next strikes for a certain amount of time will boost your damage and your to-hit chance. So a lot of times I will start off a fight with Follow-Up, and then I'll go through my list down here. So I hit Follow-Up, and then if I'm trying to get up my my Fury, then I'll go straight from the bottom up. I'll use a strike and then slash and then focus and spin as need be. If my Fury bar is already pretty high, I'll do follow up and then go straight to focus or something. So it's a really, really powerful power. You always want to go ahead and take that. It's a really good one. Next, we have a taunt, which I don't really use. Some people do want to use that so they can tank for missions, but it's not really my thing. Focus is a slight range attack, even though we're using claws. Basically, you're kind of shooting power out of your claws, and it's not a big range, but it's very nice power. You can hit someone from a distance, knock them down. It says knock back, and that's for weaker things, but a lot of times it just knocks them down for even level characters and stuff like that, enemies. And so this is really useful to have. It's my strongest one I have right now, and I really like that one quite a bit. Next, we're going to be getting this one at level 26, so in 2 levels. It is Eviscerate, and this is a cone. It's a bit of a narrow cone, but it's really, really good damage. And it also does foe minus defense. He does a little bit of a acrobatics kind of thing, where he's kind of doing a little leap and then comes down with the Eviscerate. And so it's very powerful. And then finally, Shockwave, we get at 32. And that's also a cone. That's moderate damage. It's a wider cone than Eviscerate, though. And again, it can knock down or knock back if it's a weaker character. So those are all good. Now, the thing about claws is the damage on claws, on a single attack of claws, is less damage than other power sets in the Brute or Scrapper or Tanker line. So in other words, it's not going to do the damage that one strike with Titan weapons does, for instance, obviously. It also does less damage on most of the other power sets for those characters. However, it uses less endurance and is much faster. The animation is super fast. We're going to do a little mission in a few minutes, and he runs through these powers really quick, and is really, really fast and exciting, and he's just slashing like crazy. He's like a blender. Picture Wolverine, and that's what this guy's doing. So the somewhat lower damage is made up for in the fast animation speeds and the lower endurance cost. So it's a nice little mixture. When I play Killdozer, I play at a certain cadence on that particular character. I can use my big attack, and I'm going to let a Brawl go, and then another attack, and then Brawl. I'm going to do a little bit slower each step because I don't want to run out of my endurance. This guy, I generally run sprint the whole time, and I'm just like slashing every one of these things. As soon as they come up, I'm swinging those claws like crazy. Very fun, very fast, very exciting. So let's go look at the regeneration powers. These are they're really cool. The first one is fast healing. Let me pull this thing up too, so we can take a look at it. Fast healing is an auto power, and this boosts your regeneration. So if we look at in our chart for regeneration rate, we see we have a base regeneration rate of 0.42% per second, or 3.26 hit points per second. And I have 1 slot in health right now. Right now I have all single origin enhancements in my powers. Health is 1 slot. I get 0.22% on that. Fast healing, which is 3 slotted right now, I get 0.6. So fast healing all by itself is almost exactly the same amount of regeneration as I'm getting from my base, just for having the character here, and health combined. And again, let me just show you what it looks like here. Fast healing, I got 3 level 25 single origins. For health, I just have 1. So that's where we're at on that. So this is really useful, and I definitely want to slot this up really fast, get all 3 of them up, because that really does a lot. Reconstruction is my self-heal. This is my button down here, and when I start to run, my green bar starts to run into trouble, I'm going to click on Reconstruction and boost it up right away. And so this is my I better do something quick. It's my heal. It's like if you're using the medicine power set, is be your aid self kind of thing. But this does operate pretty quick. Quick recovery. This is, we've seen quick recovery before, like in the willpower secondary as well. Quick recovery is fantastic for increasing our recovery for our blue bar, our endurance. And as you notice over here, here's our recovery rate. And we have a base recovery rate of 1.67. And I have stamina 1 slotted at 0.55. And quick recovery, which is 3 slotted, is 0.96. I think it's 3 slotted. Let me see here. Quick recovery, yes, it's 3 slotted right now. So it is going to be almost exactly the same as what 3 slotted stamina will be. So stamina and quick recovery kind of do the same thing. So right away, I took this really fast, and I was able to get my recovery bar, recovery is really high. My blue bar stays up pretty well. I can move pretty fast, clicking these buttons pretty quickly, and my blue bar stays up high. I'm trying to work on my green bar staying up high too, but that's another matter. So this is a really, really important power. Next is dull pain. I've got that one right here. Dull pain gives you some health. It can heal you up, but the majority of what this power does is that it gives you a maximum hit points. So notice right now we have current hit points of 782. So I'm going to hit this. 1,094. Boom. Look at that. I got a lot of points. And dull pain right now is, I don't have it slotted up very much. I only have a couple of recharges in it because it does have a slow recharge. I'm going to eventually have 3 heals in this thing to boost up my points even higher. So that's a boost of about 300 points, over almost 50%. And that's just when it's not even slotted for health yet. So this is, dull pain is a power you don't want to use at the very end when your green bar is way down here. You can, but a lot of times a better idea is to use this early on in the fight, maybe before you start the fight. Because if you start with 1,000 hit points and people start attacking you, and they're going to start going down from here, if then you hit reconstruction to heal up, it's going to go back up to your 1,000 hit points, as opposed to starting off at 700 hit points, letting it go down to like 100, and then hit dull pain. It's going to go up some, but it's not as high, and you're going to still be kind of in danger. So a lot of people will swear by the idea of using dull pain before you start a fight or early on. I find it works well early on. I want to get into the fight and see if this is going to be a tough fight. If so, okay, I better use it, because again, the recharge in this thing is quite a bit. So next we have integration. And integration is going to be toggle. Got it right down here. And what integration does is this going to give us a resistance to knockback and stun and hold and sleep and immobilize. It's also going to boost up our regeneration somewhat and also do some taunting. But the regeneration is really important, because anything that's going to help boost our regeneration is going to be a big help. So let's look over here on a regeneration rate. We see that, again, our base is 0.42% and health, 1 slot, is 0.22. Well, integration is 0.89%. Heck, that's pretty good. Let me see here. I have integration 2 slotted for health right now, for heal right now. So I'm not sure why it keeps breaking into little bits like that, 0.21 to 0.68, and then combines. I'm not sure why it does that. But so this is a big help. So integration is really important. You always want to have that on there. So yeah, so it's very, very useful for regeneration, as well as all these other things that will get knocked back. So it's really good. Resilience is, even though this is a regeneration power set, and we've talked in the past about resistance versus defense, and I would mention at the time, and the third tier of that thing is regeneration. Well, this is the third tier. We have a little bit of cheat here. We have this power of resilience, and resilience is an auto power, and this will boost up our our resistance to stun and also to all damage. So this is a really good power. What I've done here is I have 1 slotted so far for damage resistance, and that's going to be a big help for us, because again, we have basically no armor on. We don't have any defenses. We don't have any resistances. So when someone hits us, we're going to take the full brunt. Remember when we talked on a previous episode, if you have damage resistance, then that means you're going to get hit, but you're going to get hit for less damage than you normally would. If you have defenses, you're not going to get hit at all, or you're going to get hit less often. With regeneration, you're going to hit full time, all the time. So having a little bit of damage resistance is going to be nice. Right now, I have that one slotted. I have also taken tough, and that's not slotted for any damage resistance. Yeah, I just took it. So between the two, I have some resistance of 22.43. Let me show you. Yeah, for smashing and lethal, 22.43. For everything else, it's 11.18%. So these numbers will come up as I get more slots in there and get them with better slots as well. But a little bit of help. A little bit of help is nice to have. Next, we're going to get instant healing. And again, I don't have that yet. Is a click power. And it will boost your regeneration really fast. And I think it boosts your regeneration for 1 minute. Now, let's see here. I'm planning on slotting 3 recharges into this sucker, so it will come back as quickly as possible. And I'm not sure off the top of my head what the recharge rate on this is, but you're not going to make this perma. It's not going to be permanent. You're going to have gaps. So this will be a really important power to hang on to when you're in a giant fight, and you can use this right away and get it going. So it's not the I win button that used to be. Next we have Revive, which, believe it or not, is a revive if you die. So, what a surprise there. You can resurrect yourself. And then finally, Moment of Glory, which it comes at the very end at level 38, is a resistance to all damage except for psionics, knockback, repel, stun, hold, sleep, immobilize, and defense to everything but psionics, and plus recovery. So basically, you click on this thing and you are going to be like going crazy for about a minute or so. It's you're going to have damage resistance to everything, almost everything. You're going to have defenses to almost everything. You're going to be your blue bar is going to be going through the roof. You're going to be like super powered. And this is kind of like, I guess, Elude used to be for super reflexes. So this is kind of like boost rate. Now I don't believe that there is a exhaustion thing on there. Some powers after 2 minutes you suddenly get exhausted. I don't think this one has that. So that's nice. So that's really good. So that is what I've got for this character. I'm going to be taking everything in regeneration. Yeah, and I'm also going to be I've got tough. Boxing I'll be taking weave as well to give me a little bit of defense. And basically just playing that way. So it's been a really fun character so far. Again, I'm level 24. And I like it because it plays a little differently than what I'm used to playing with some of my other brutes and scrappers, where I have to have a very measured tone, a measured cadence for everything. I do let Brawl go, so I'm not going crazy with everything, because you will drain it out afterwards. After a while. Oh, let me show you one other thing that this power set does not have, and is really important. We look at base before, we look at damage resistance a lot, we'll look at defense a lot, even though it's all 0 in this character. Sometimes I'll even go through here and say, oh yeah, here's my, I have hold resistance and immobilize resistance and all those things, that's great. We never really look at debuff resistance. And this bears some talking about. We have, because of fast healing, some regeneration resistance, which means that an enemy is not going to hit us and suddenly we can't regenerate our health. Sometimes you have enemies that can do those kind of things. So we do have some resistance to that. That's going to help us out. But we have 0s on everything else. So, and I ran into this when I was on a team 2 days ago with, we were fighting the Freak Show. And I'm doing my thing and showing off with all my claws powers. I look up here, my blue bar is down here. In fact, I drained the blue bar and everything got shut off. It's like, what in the world happened? Well, recovery resistance. The Freak Show, they have all those electric powers and stuff, and they can hit you with a no recovery or minus recovery. So all of a sudden, all this great stuff I'm getting from quick recovery and all the stuff I'm getting from stamina is frozen. I get it. I don't know if it goes to 0 recovery. Maybe it does. Anyway, it gets slowed down a lot. So instead of my blue bar going up like it should be, at 3.18% per second, and I even had that up here in my little box here. Instead, it goes down to 0 endurance per second, or 1 endurance per second, or whatever it may be. So all of a sudden, I'm using all this endurance to fight, and I'm not regenerating, if anything, just a fraction of what I was supposed to, and this thing just goes down, 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 down. And that's something you don't really think about. That's really good, really important, and I don't have that on this character. To hit resistance, a lot of times if you're playing against the Circle of Thorns, and you're fighting, and all of a sudden you can't hit them. They hit you with that smoky power, and it's like, oh, they've got smoke everywhere, and suddenly miss. You can't hit them. They hit you with a to-hit resistance. They floor your accuracy or your to-hit abilities. Recharge time resistance. A lot of times you'll get hit with some of the council guys that have a rifle. It sounds like it has like an ice sound to it, it sounds like icy powers. And all of a sudden you look down here, and all of your powers, instead of being ready to click on, they're all like tiny little dots, and they're recharging. It's like, why are my powers not recharging? That's because of this. Defense resistance is awful, especially if you're playing like a Super Reflexes character where everything is defense. All of a sudden, if you have defense up here in your box, it goes, instead of having like 45% defense, you have -18 defense. It's like, oh shoot, that's when you need to run. So we don't have any protection from those things. That is a shortcoming on these characters. Any character that you play in the game is going to have some type of shortcoming built into it. Maybe it's a knockdown or stun or a handful of these things. A lot of times, like this one, resilience. No, let's look at Moment of Glory. You're going to get superpowered, almost godlike powers, but not against psionics. Some low-level lost character can hit you with psionics and kill you, whereas everyone else, they can't touch you. So you're always going to have these holes in your defenses, defense resistance, everything else that you need to look out for. And I found the hard way the other day that recovery resistance is a big hole if you're playing against a freak show. I need to go back and look at Killdozer. Because when I was playing Killdozer, he had no problem against the freak show at all. And I'm not sure, I hadn't really thought about it at the time. I said, oh, he's just really good against the freak show. And also the Carnival of Shadows. He was no problem. I remember whenever I would kill a Carnival of Shadows character on some other characters when the game was live, I would have to jump backwards as soon as I killed them, because when they die, they have that little puddle of light underneath them as they die. Well, that puddle of light will suck out that gives you some type recovery resistance. It drains your recovery. So I would have to drop it away. Killdozer never cared about it. It's no problem at all. So apparently I had some great recovery resistance to that character. I don't know what it was giving it to me. I need to look into that and find out why he was so good at that. But he would just stand there and say, I don't remember I thought the Carnival were really tough. He does really well against them. Well, that's because he had recovery resistance of a high number from one of the powers. I'm not sure which one. So these are things you need to keep an eye on as well. And there's probably some enhancement set that I'll be able to get at some point that'll fill in these holes in some way. I'm not sure. I haven't researched that yet. But just be aware when you're playing any of your characters, oh, here are the holes I need to look out for. Here's a group of enemies that specialize in this. So they're the ones I need to look out for. Just like the Vazalok, those stupid vomiting zombie things. If you don't have any toxic resistance, you have no toxic resistance when you fight those guys. It's like, oh, those guys, oh. Whereas if you have a character that has great toxic resistance, you may want to play against those guys all day long because they don't really have to hurt you very bad. So something to keep an eye on. All right, so anyway, that's that. So this is the set, and what I want to do is go on a little short civil radio mission to show you how I run the powers and what they look like. On this character, I've got the little box up here, and I've gone over this before, how to put box. You can have 5 powers up here, and the way you do that, I've gotten I probably get more questions about this than anything else in the whole game. Click on powers, and then click on combat attributes like we had before. And what you do is if you want to put something up here, Let's say that I want to put in defense. So range defense. What I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this. I'm going to right click, and then I'm going to click on monitor. There's the second choice. I got covered up with the name, and it puts it right up here. And if I don't want that anymore, I can go hide. So monitor range defense or hide. Oops, that wasn't right. That's not what you do. Oh, shoot. All right. Oh, it did take it off. Okay, good. Okay. So that's how you put those up there, and you can put whatever you want to up here, up to 5 things. And I got my regeneration rate and recovery rate because on this particular character, that's what I'm really kind of keeping an eye on. I want to make sure regeneration rate stays up high. I'm getting 16.65 hit points per second, which seems pretty good for a low-level character. So every time I get hit, if someone hits me for 80 points, it's going to take me 5 seconds for it to gain back again. Okay, and recovery rate is this is based on 100, so it's all percents. So I want to make sure these numbers stay high. I got lethal resistance. It could have been smashing. They're always the same. Just to see what those are at. And then I keep track of my fury. When I hit over 100, that's why you go with my big powers. So, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this on hold when I get a mission, and I will be right back. Okay, we're going to be fighting the Sioux today, and I would expect it. Oh, we got a couple of guys hitting us. No, let's not do that. Let's go in here and fight the Sioux. Defeat Sioux in the police precinct. And I'm going to keep sprint on because I can, which is always nice. All right, I'm going to start with follow-up. Animation go up, and then I'm just going to go up my list here. Okay, let me show you what focus does. It does a really good job. So again, let's take this a little slower here. Okay, follow up. Does a little bit of damage. Then strike. 94. I missed that one. Do focus on this guy. It does the knockdown like that. It's pretty strong too. Ah. I want to go fast because it's great on a brute. Yeah, Claws is great on a brute because it encourages fast play. Here's a bomb I needed to get away with. I always want to start with follow-up. I think I only have follow-up set with 2 accuracies right now. I'll get damage on it later because it does do the least amount of damage. I mainly just want to use that to get the build-up portion of it. Defeat the escapee. All right. Let me show you what spin does. Spin is really powerful. Well, when it hits the other guy, it doesn't do very much. That was the mission. That was it. So notice my blue bar went down to here at one point. That was pretty much it. The green bar went down a little bit, but not much because I got so much regeneration and recovery. So really, really good. You can get overwhelmed on this particular character if you start getting. Obviously, if you go up against someone that hits you really, really hard, you're going to take a massive hit. But the main problem I've run into is if you're playing against a lot of enemies and they're all hitting. When you're surrounded, and you can use spin, but if you're surrounded, they're all hitting you a bunch. You know, you got no. That's when you feel the lack of defense and resistance because this bar just goes. But that's okay. It's a fast action. It's a lot of clicking. It's a lot of moving. It's a lot of quick stuff. Again, with the I love having almost unlimited stamina. I love it. It's fantastic. I can just kind of go through at my own pace and just do whatever I want to do. So it's really a lot of fun from that perspective. So it's a great character combination. Again, you can do kind of any kind of thing. I got this Tiger Town Tavern inspired character, Tiger Town Fanatic, and it's fun. Again, I used to have a werewolf claws. You can do a Wolverine type thing. You can find lots of reasons for having claws characters. It's just a lot of fun. And so far, I'm enjoying Regeneration. How it will work for in-game stuff, I don't know. We'll have to see. But up to level 24, it's been really, really nice. So until next time, this is Greg29407, along with Tiger Town Fanatic, saying au revoir, and we will see you next time.